and I have here a deck for you. It is a Yugi deck. It is based on the one that Yugi Muto used from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX after Atem left his body 10 years later. Dark Magician. Dark Magician is a Yugi staple. All throughout the seasons, he had this card. Dark Magician Girl. Another Yugi staple. Gazelle, the king of mythical beasts. Baphomet. In Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, there was this kid named Dimitri. They call him the copycat duelist. He was one of the students who stole Yugi's deck in the display case, thinking that he was basically the strongest duelist. He dueled Jaden. He got a couple good plays in, but the end result was he lost because he didn't have Yugi's heart while playing the cards. Mystical Elf, another Yugi staple. Yugi used this card against Jaden in their last duel. In their duel in the last episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Summon Skull, another Yugi staple. Gaia, the Fierce Knight, and Curse of Dragon. Both of these cards were in the display case of Yugi Muto's deck on the episode of King of Copycats and on the last episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Beast of Archfiend of Gilfer. Beast of Gilfer in the anime. This card was used by Yugi in his duel against Jaden in the last episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Catapult Turtle was also a card in the display case of Yugi's deck at the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Valkyrion, the Magna Warrior. Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. These are all Yugi staple cards that he used throughout the series and after. Big Shield Gardener, a Yugi staple. Not really a good card, but tremendous defense. Skilled Dark Magician, a Yugi staple. Breaker, the Magical Warrior, another Yugi staple. Obnoxious Celtic Guard. Yugi played this or Celtic Guardian against Jaden in the last episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I couldn't tell which one he played, but I know Obnoxious Celtic Guard is a little bit more powerful than the original Celtic Guardian. Magician of Faith. I believe Yugi used this card. I didn't use Double Spell because it was a little bit situational. Magician of Faith is a lot more powerful. Kuriboh, another Yugi staple. And Wing Kuriboh. On the first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Yugi Muto gave this card to Jaden Yuki, who was made out to be the next king of games after Yugi. So Yugi Muto was the first owner of Wing Kuriboh. Waterpond, Yugi staple. This card was used in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX twice when Dimitri had Yugi's deck and stole it, and when Yugi played against Jaden in the last episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Buster Blader, another Yugi staple. Yugi had this card in his hand against his duel against Jaden on the last episode of GX, so I assume he had this card. Blackluster Soldier, a new card, a new addition to Yugi's deck that we didn't see, unfortunately, because he had it after the series. Dark Magician of Chaos, another new Yugi card that he had, which is an upgraded version of Magician of Black Chaos. This card was used by Dimitri, the kid who stole Yugi's deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and he used it against Jaden. It was awesome. Electromagnetic Turtle, Yugi's staple. Those are the monsters. For the spells, I have Diffusion Wave Motion, Yugi Staple. This is also a card used. This is also a card that was in the display case of Yugi's deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX on the last episode. Graceful Charity, Yugi Staple. Pot of Greed, Yugi Staple. Card Destruction, Yugi Staple. Sage's Stone, Yugi Staple. Card of Sanctity, another Yugi Staple. Used with its anime effect, both players draw until they have 6 cards. Multiply. This was used by the kid who stole Yugi's deck, Dimitri, in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. He used this card against Jaden in the episode King of Copycats to create a wall of Kuribohs for defense. Dark Magic Curtain, another Yugi staple. I know Atem played this card, and he had this card in his deck also, the ceremonial duel. But I believe Yugi, after Atem left to the afterlife, that he had Dark Magic Curtain as well. Dedication Through Light and Darkness, a new Yugi card that was seen in his deck when it was going on tour in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, used to summon the almighty new upgraded version of Magician of Black Chaos at the time. Brain Control, Yugi Staple. Thousand Knives, Yugi Staple. This card was used against Jaden in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, the last episode when Yugi played it, and in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX when Dimitri, the copycat duelist, played it. Swords of Revealing Light, Yugi Staple. Monster Reborn, Monster Reincarnation. We seen what this card can do when Dimitri, the kid who stole Yugi's deck, played it against Jaden. He used it to add Kuriboh back to his hand. Magical Dimension, Yugi Staple, another card used by Yugi when he dueled against Jaden in the last episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. He used this to tribute Mystical Elf for his Dark Magician. Polymerization and Polymerization. I use 2 because he has Chimera and Dark Paladin and Gaia the Dragon Champion. For the trap cards, Dark Renewal, another Yugi staple that was used in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX with Jaden, against Jaden when Yugi used it on the last episode, and against Jaden when Dimitri, the kid who stole Yugi's deck, used it. Black Illusion, another Yugi staple. Shift, a Yugi staple. This was used against Jaden when Yugi played it on the last episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. He used it to to swap place, to swap Celtic Guard, to swap Dark Magician for his Celtic Guardian, obnoxious Celtic Guardian. Dust Tornado, Yugi Staple. Mystical Ref Panel, Yugi Staple. Magic Cylinder, Yugi Staple. Mirror Force, Yugi Staple. And Magical Hats, Yugi Staple. Here's the extra deck. Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast, Yugi Staple. Dark Paladin. And Gaia, the Dragon Champion. This was, again, in the display case of Yugi Muto's deck when it was going on tour, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I have an extra deck. I have a side deck. This includes cards that were in Yugi's deck that I couldn't add because there was too many. Dark Hole, Double Spell, Premature Burial, Spellbinding Circle, Swift Gaia the Fierce Knight, Celtic Guardian, Emergency Provisions, Magicians Unite, Soul Rope, Mystic Box, Magic Formula, Mage Power, Mystical Space Typhoon, Black Luster Ritual, and Black Luster Soldier, Black Magic Ritual, and Magician of Black Chaos. Giant Soldier of Stone, King's Knight, Jack's Knight, King's Knight, and Queen's Knight. And there you have it. Yugi's deck, based on the one he used from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.